So, good morning everyone. In this video, we would like to share our research study about learning disability focus in dyscalculia. So, who among you have a knowledge about dyscalculia? Or who among you met a person who have this disorder? So, let me give a brief definition of dyscalculia. So, dyscalculia is a learning disorder that affects a person's ability to understand number-based information and math. People who have dyscalculia struggle with numbers and math because their brain don't process math-related concepts like the brains of people without this disorder. So, dyscalculia have these two possible causes. First is genes, and second is hereditary. Dyscalculia tends to run in families. Research shows that genetics may also play a part in problems with math. Brain development. Brain imaging studies have shown some difference between people with and without dyscalculia. So, dyscalculia is a condition that makes it hard to do math and tasks that involve mathematics. It's not as well known or as understood as dyslexia, but some experts believe it's just as common. That means an estimated 5 to 10% of people might have dyscalculia. So, from our first study titled A Systematic Review of Interventions for Children Presenting with Dyscalculia in Primary School, the author were Tato Munay and Atena Pedro in the year 2017, and the findings was provide a basis of effective interventions that can be used in the school setting in different domains and levels, such as individually, holistically, or through various instruction. So, what are these interventions that a teacher can use in a school setting? Some are tutorial or remedial class that can give a special time and special treatment to a student with dyscalculia, that they can learn more and focus in a simple explanation on how they can learn learn mathematics. And second is the guidance of parents in their house, that through that guidance, they can boost their self-esteem and focus in basic number countings. So, conclusion: in order to think creatively and flexibly, pupils need to develop good basic mental mathematics skill. So, how can they apply this mathematical skill? So, first is the student may learn through writing numbers. How is that? Through that can form a number. Second is the student might learn mathematics through counting basic numbers in their fingers, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on and so forth. And other is they can use some object or some materials that can represent a number or in their countings. So, for recommendation, the schools must have interventions that directly address the knowledge of mathematical facts, the ability to carry out mathematical procedures, understanding and using mathematical principle, and so forth, are ideal in helping to support children with dyscalculia.
So for our second case study, it is entitled use of interactive video in children with developmental disabilities with Dyscalculia to introduce natural numbers. The authors are Sri Adibidudu, Ayub Prihatiningsi, Irham Taufik in year 2021. Their findings are developmental children have a characteristic of being slow in learning new things and have difficulty in focusing attention, so they are less able when they have learned like normal children. Besides that, dyscalculia is one form of learning disabilities in mentally retarded children. So students with mental retardation tend to have additional learning barriers such as dyscalculia. Therefore, interactive media are needed that can foster motivation and make it easier for mentally retarded children and intellectuals to deliver mathematics learning material. Conclusion. Based on the results of research and discussion, it can be concluded that interactive media influences the ability to recognize number in mentally retarded children who experience dyscalculia. The influence of interactive media can be seen by the change in data from the baseline phase to the interactive phase. In the ability test to recognize baseline phase number, subject was able to recognize three numbers, namely number 1, 2, and 3. From this data, it can be seen that there is a positive influence of interactive media on the ability to recognize number in mentally retarded children with dyscalculia. The recommendation is, in connection with the results of this study, it can be recommended that the use of interactive learning video can be used as an alternative to learning media for mentally retarded students with dyscalculia. Besides, it is necessary to consider using similar media to improve the ability of mentally retarded students with dyscalculia in other numbers.
So the next study is entitled Assessment of the Awareness of Dyscalculia Among Primary Teachers. Author is Kahendra Adhikari, year 2014. The findings are a result of study. It was found that the students with dyscalculia had difficulties in their social environment and daily lives. Those students acquired the gain of the middle school mathematics curriculum at the very low level, and the teachers had insufficient knowledge about dyscalculia. Conclusion. This study reveals that although this is a negative bias about materials by the student with mathematics learning difficulties, mathematics must be made attractive by those students by using games, rewards, concrete materials, and fun activities besides computer games specific to a subject can be used. Different types of activities that appeal to five senses can be carried out. If the lessons are based on the associated with everyday life, they can help them develop positive attitudes about mathematics. Teachers should not have negative thoughts for their students. So the recommendation, individualized learning plans should be prepared for the students with mathematics learning difficulties before teaching, and the aims of the curriculum and the teaching process should be carried out in the line with those plans. The families of the students with mathematics learning difficulties should take this situation seriously and cooperate with the students and the teacher in order to ensure a negative education for their children. Guidance should be provided to support those families.
Report is entitled Not Just Bad at Math, An Introduction to Dyscalculia by Rachel Parker, year 2022. Researchers have found that the children with dyscalculia exhibit certain behaviors that point to the trouble they experience working with numbers. often children with dyscalculia. They do not understand place value, making errors such as writing the numbers 102 as 1002. They get very frustrated performing basic math operations such as single single digit addition or playing board games. Count on their fingers, cannot recall times tables, demonstrate poor understanding of and confuse mathematical symbols such as plus, minus, division, and greater than or equal or less than. For mathematical processes, but do not understand the underlying mathematical concept and therefore retain the processes. Achieve very highly in other subjects such as English and perform very poorly in mathematics, especially if there are no other underlying issues. For example, dyslexia. Experience difficulty telling analog time. The recommendations. Researchers have established that the neural connection that map quantity to symbolic forms of numbers are not established for children with dyscalculia by Butterworth in 2005. However, it is possible to create other connections between symbolic and non-symbolic forms of number which allow them to work effectively with numbers. Conclusions. Math learning difficulties and the dyscalculia are difficult to diagnose as there is wide range ability in single year level. In every class, there are children in high, medium, and low performing groups, and there are also children who have difficulty learning maths for various reasons. For example, related to their working memory capacity or other cognitive abilities.
The title of my research about case study dyscalculia is Developmental Dyscalculia and Basic Numerical Capacities, a study of 8 to 9-year-old students by Lander Carl, year 2015. While reading Lander Carl cited papers, the author suggests that these findings indicate that comorbid with math and reading difficulties result from left hemisphere dysfunction, while specific difficulty with math stems from right hemisphere dysfunction. It also suggests that correlation is not causation. Children with general difficulties have quantitatively more difficult than children with specific math disability. So the findings imply that the problems faced by dyscalculate children are specifically to do with memory rather than with numerical understanding. So he recommends that this case study are in need of replication using more items and more sensitive measures such as reaction time latencies, use a simple number comparison which would test whether children understood number magnitudes and simple counting skills. He concluded that the attempts to discover the root cause of dyscalculia by correlating it with other disabilities have not so far been successful. It is still far from clear that these disabilities play any causal role in developmental maths disability. That's all. Thank you.